Welcome to Leap Sales with Ian Nethercott and Larry Feldman live.
If you look at the last 4 years, Ian, we've answered 41 million phone calls for dealers over the last 4 years with our AI platform. We've also handled over 150 million text messages. And so when you look at just those raw numbers, that's a 4 to 1, 3.5, 4 to 1 text to phone call. So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you, though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. If that is text, voice, video call, if they want to be engaged and engaged instantly.
Commercial.
Wow, there we go. Oh, we are live in the evening time. So I guess it's about books. Is it like book reports? Was that the idea?
Well, what are you reading? What are you reading?
I read tons of stuff, so
I know.
It's a question
you were the
of
one blowing out books
what.
a couple weeks ago. What are you reading right now?
Well, I'm always reading a lot of stuff.
First of all, let us all meet Drew.
Yeah.
Hi, Drew.
Introduce yourself. Speak up. Tell us more about you.
I am Drew.
All right, Drew. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. He knows his name at least.
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
flanked by Drew Perman and Harry Wilner. Everybody knows Harry, and Drew is in the process of joining our merry crew. He's a very experienced general manager, great trainer in his own right, and we're trying to expand out in every darn direction.
Oh, that's the way to roll it.
Same group years ago that Larry and I are with.
Oh, okay. So you know where all the skeletons? You know where all the skeletons are, man.
Yep, all of them. True.
So what's the best book you're reading these days?
Rhonda, do you want to start, or do you want us to start?
Yeah, I've got two books here that I haven't even cracked open yet. One is The Science of Getting Rich. It's a very old book, apparently. Somebody recommended to me. Life-changing, he said. We'll see about that. And the other is Fighting the Hate. It's by Melanie Phillips. She's a British writer, writes about anti-Semitism a lot. And this book is about how to fight anti-Semitism, not just put up with it. So I'm looking forward to this. She's brilliant. I've been reading her columns for years. And that's what's on my desk right now. Of course, I always read Jane. I read Jane Austen in my sleep. So,
Ian, how about you, my buddy?
Well, one of the many books that I have on my list to read is this one. This one is by Jeremy Kahn. So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but this is the next one I'm reading. I read books on all kinds of topics, so it would have to be a little more specific. But I think another book that everyone should read if they haven't already is this one. It's called The Changing World Order. It's by Ray Dalio. Highly recommend this book.
He's a sharp guy.
He runs a large fund for wealthy people out of Connecticut. But the other one to read by him, if you're training or managing people, is Principles. Ray Dalio. This is a really, really good book too, on how to manage people. He derives the way he invests from another book by a lady who used to work for Google and Apple called Radical Candor. So Radical Candor is the principle that you should just tell people what you think and they should react to that, whether it's good or bad. So he adapted that whole thing.
She wrote a book about that? I've
Yeah.
my
Is
life
that
like
written
that.
by somebody that was recently fired?
Well, so there's a story behind it. So she was at Google. She was working at Google, and one of the guys she worked with decided to disagree with one of the founders of Google. She said, that's probably not a good idea. You're probably going to get your ass fired over that. And he actually enjoyed it. So, and appreciated it. So she's like, okay, that's interesting. Then years later, she worked for Apple, and she worked for their internal, I guess, training institute. So she came up with a book called Radical Candor. And the whole idea behind it is, you have to tell people what you think because they have blind spots. And how that comes circling back around to Ray Dalio is about 20% of the time when you do that, people don't like it and they tend to quit or get fired because of it. So what he did is he says, hey, I run an investment firm. I need to know what other people think. I'm not the brightest guy in any room that I'm in, even though I run the company. If I know that in real time, I'll be able to make better investment decisions and our company will make more money. So what he did is he took her process called Radical Candor. I think it's Kim Scott. And he made it digital so that people could comment when everyone was talking in two ways, front, negative and positive in real time. Well, he found the same thing to be true, which is basically that 20% of the people can't handle the truth. So they end up either getting fired or they quit. But you end up with a better team because you have to be able to tell people that you're working with or managing or in a company with what you think, because they're going to miss stuff. And if you do that, you build a stronger team. But some people just, their personality just can't handle it. They prefer to just not tell you that. They prefer to just be in the back.
Can I jump to quote my own book?
Of course you can.
In Inner Moron Demons, I have a good line about that. It's like, don't lie to yourself. There's nobody there to correct you. It's really frightening when people don't look in the mirror and realize it's not like your flaws go away if you don't address them.
Exactly.
Inner Moron, there you go, Michael. And Michael, you look so handsome in that hat. It's scary.
Got the book, he's got the hat.
It's a peg it's on.
Ian, those are fabulous choices. Michael, other than my fine book that you have in your hand, what have you been reading or what have you read recently that turns you on?
I'm in the middle of reading Glenn Lundy's book. Really interesting how he kind of wraps a dealership and their experience around the legacies of success. And it's a really good read. I was surprised. It's not like it doesn't hold a candle to yours, of course. What are you laughing at?
Yeah, right. I've got the off switch here, Mike. Don't worry about it.
Does it come with a mirrored tie? And like a teeth cleaning kit? No.
Hold on a second, Tony.
It's funny you mention that.
Tony, are you on your usual time restriction up till the half hour, or do you have more time?
I'm not. I'm just kidding, but it would be funny if it did.
Tony, you're muted.
You'll get there.
There we go. Yeah, I got that until 6:30. So
okay, well, this is going to be an easy one because the book that Tony enjoys the most and leans on the most is the Bible, which is probably the best written, most widely quoted, most influential book of all time. So I know the Bible's always turning you on. Tell us some things that and it's funny, I was in class today and I quoted Ecclesiastes, whatever thy hand shall find, do it with all thy might. But what have you pulled out of the Bible recently? I know you're always studying it. That's turned you on.
We're making our way through Romans, and we're in Romans chapter 16. And if there's only one book you ever read, the Bible, Romans is a good start, that's for sure. I wish I could measure up to everything that wants me to be. One of these days, when I'm on the other side of the curtain, I will be, but until then, and I need a lot of work, my friend, a lot of work.
Tony, we're Jewish. We're prone to Exodus too.
Yeah. Hey, do you, Larry, being Jewish, do you know the meaning of the term meribah? Meribah.
No, but please fill me in.
Well, it's what Moses said to God when you guys were stumbling around in the desert and complaining about everything. Meribah means bitch.
Well, I believe the English translation for that isn't there a Hilton around here?
Where do I plug in my hair dryer?
You were looking for a swimming pool in the desert, right?
It's the last recorded instance of a mass group of Jews camping out.
Yeah. And you'll never hear about it again.
What's interesting is with the Bible, besides an unbelievable amount of wisdom, you can't. I mean, forget about Mario Puzo and Jacqueline Suzanne. You got every interesting kind of tale. You've got betrayals. You've got sexual intrigue. You have treachery. But what you really have are principles that have, even if you're not religious, that have burned into every aspect of society. When did you first start getting involved, Tony? I don't know if you were always religious or you had, the light shone in your face one day. Tell us.
I think we broke it.
The Frozen.
He was coming back in a
1
second.
year.
Well, he froze because David Rozak showed up, so we went from the divine presence to the devil himself.
You
David,
got me now, Larry?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
good.
Awesome. So I accepted Christ when I was 31 at the end of a terrible divorce. And so, yeah, I've been walking with him ever since. And he's got a lot of work to do, and he's done a lot of work, but he's not done it with me yet.
and I'm assuming your ex-wife went with the devil. It's the Bob Dylan line. It might be the devil, it might be the Lord, but you have to serve somebody. We get it.
Yeah, she saw the light and thought it was the way to get out. She found out it was fire.
Larry, you're the only guy that can turn a conversation about the Bible to sex. I will say that.
Lots of sex in the Bible, right?
There is.
David, we're going to jump back to Tony and make sure we get him back in before the half hour because he's got to go to the Bible study. David, for Drew Perlman is with us. Drew's jumping into my organization. Unbelievably good guy. David, what are you reading or what have you read recently that really turned you around or influenced you or got you excited?
Well, there's a lot of different projects I'm working on that kind of have me excited, but most of those I've signed NDAs on. I do like the DigiSafe.ai product that I sat in a founders meeting on Saturday on. That was an interesting product, although people have tried to do digital deal bags forever and failed, and it's been costly and we've had a lot of problems with it, but they do a couple of things right.
You got an A in there. It's like PEARL.
So
He's
other
got
than
the
that-
A in there, Rhonda.
Okay.
Sorry,
No,
Rhonda.
it's okay.
We have a new member, and Rhonda's a bad speller.
Usually I'm dropping an F-bomb right about now and Rhonda's charging me.
Because I told her at the end.
Yeah, right.
Actually,
I'm ready.
Are you ready with your cookie jar? Because I haven't dropped any F-bombs
My
yet.
empty cookie jar. Keep talking.
Yeah, so I mean, today I played host to Wendy's room because she's at a Sudacon or a SodaCon, whatever it's pronounced. I figured you were there today, Larry.
I broke into a group with 31 stores. I am in Virginia. David, you would have been proud. I had 17 people jammed into a room. I'm going to get a ton hired. The
Oh
two
my God.
managers stayed in the room for most of the day and were blown away. So I made myself very useful as much as I have enjoyed a SodaCon over the years.
Yeah, I think that's a better place to be. Not that I have anything bad to say about it. I'm just saying that helping a client, helping a dealer, helping people with their careers, to me, is something I'm more passionate about than listening to a bunch of spiels. And again, I always learn at those things, and I think you get out of what you put into it. But the best thing for me to go to one of those events is to have breakfast for the different vendors and dealers and just feel their pain points, sit in those roundtable meetings. And then when I have a problem and someone says, I need someone that can train my people, I'm like, I got a guy.
I got a guy.
Time, so he's a
I
little.
know a guy.
Yeah, as long as you like the Beatles, you're okay with him. So
Listen, I'm
that's about me.
also wide open to Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Buddy Holly. I'm very diverse when it comes to music. I just happen to think. Let me just make a quick aside, and then I'll shut up.
Not possible. Never gonna happen.
Not only did the Beatles do more great music than everybody else put together, I love British music. For anybody, Tony and me argue constantly. He thinks Zeppelin, because he's out of his mind, are better than the Beatles. It's not true.
There you go. There you go. Now you're seeing the light.
But hold on. Let me make my point. You would have never heard of Led Zeppelin or The Who or the Rolling Stones because British bands did not translate in America. We weren't interested in Cliff Richards and Tommy Steele. We sent our artists like Buddy Holly and Elvis, even though he never went there in person, and Chuck Berry there. They broke it open for Zeppelin and The Who and the Kinks and all those bands. So I just it's like Jackie Robinson is the greatest black ball player of all time. He broke the mold. He changed the world. George Washington's the greatest president. I don't want to hear about Lincoln. He was the first guy. So it's what they did in terms of setting the stage for all these artists that we all love. And they went from a boy band to right now in a Rigby and yesterday. They influenced everybody all the way. So I can see Tony, whose humility is wrapped in the biblical passages, is agreeing with me. We've had a minor conversion. We'll throw some holy water at you later.
It's okay to like both. I mean, it's okay to like both. I mean, I like the Rolling Stones. I mean, I don't know. I have my favorites. I like Def Leppard. I like Metallica. I like Nine Inch Nails. I mean, so.
What is he talking about? He's
talking about metal and hair metal bands. It's okay. Rosie can get away with it because he understands the internet better than I will. And we love David. David, don't tell us about conferences. You are a bright guy. I know you're into me. Tell us a book you've written that had an effect. It could have been last week. It could have been 10 years ago.
Unless you've written one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have ghostwritten a couple different things, but most of the stuff I had done is like historical for like towns and villages, stuff like that. But probably the last book I read, I'm terrible at reading books. I'll listen to a podcast and I'll listen to a YouTube video and I want the audio version. I mean, I want to listen to like the 4 agreements and then I want to debate with you about it. Things like that.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I like history, so I mean, I'm boring. I want to know.
That's not boring.
I'm a humanities type of person. I like art and history, and really the passion about the different cultures. I want to know about the Phoenicians. I want to know about the Greeks. I want to know about the Egyptians. All cultures and their art just intrigues me. But here's what I have learned about history: is all things repeat itself again and again, and there's really nothing new. We just keep looping around to the same conversation.
Excuse me, you just triggered me. I was
did.
telling these fine gentlemen my favorite president, not the greatest, but is Truman, and Truman said, the only new things in the world are the history that you don't already know. By the way, one of the books I'm going to discuss tonight is Brave Companions. My absolute favorite historical author, maybe the greatest there ever was, is a guy named David McCullough, passed away a couple years ago. And I'm reading a book of his called Brave Companions, which talks about people who have traversed through Europe and different places. And like you just said, expressed different cultures and touched on things that we weren't aware of, and the courage it took to do that and the approaches they made. If you're ever going to read anything and you have the time.
That's the last book I read.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Joel Osteen.
There's certain books that
he is devout. He is a devout man of God. He's not a phony. And Tony, if you read his book on page 71, God spoke directly to him and told him that the Rolling Stones and the Beatles were better than Led Zeppelin. You can't argue with the good Lord, Tony.
Listen, Larry, the book I'm reading, I'll give you a clue. It's not out yet, but it'll be out soon. And it's a Led Zeppelin themed book. But it's not written by Led Zeppelin. It's called Nobody's Fault But Mine.
Oh, yeah.
And some of you might know the book I'm talking about.
Did he change the title again? He had a different title a month ago.
Wait,
Yeah, it's cool. It's Tony and I have both read Hammer of the Gods, which talked about a well-written Zeppelin book. By the way, Tony, they were pretty great. I know you saw the documentary they did on them in the early couple of years.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. Pretty tremendous assemblage of talent. Pretty amazing. All right. Drew's over my left shoulder. David, really bright guy, been a GM forever, and he's going to jump in with us. We're going to expand in about 100 different directions. We'll talk more about it. Drew, what have you? Drew's a little dyslexic, so I don't know that reading's his favorite. But
I'm a podcast guy.
How about an audio book? What's the last audio book you listened to?
7 Habits.
7 Habits. That's Stephen Covey. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Very, very well done. How about you?
Psychology of Money. I'm actually reading with my daughter. I'm listening to the audiobook because I am dyslexic. And my daughter reading it because I'm trying to let her understand what money is. And I think that's the one thing that we don't do as parents or their school systems is really explain how money works.
They teach algebra, but not how to balance a checkbook.
So the one big thing that I've taught my daughter since day one, she's now 16. She's got an investment portfolio. She understands how to read.
Yeah.
This is the investment Bible. You could argue, I guess, Warren Buffett learned everything he knows from here. This is one of his profs. Highly recommend the book. It's a little dry. You can obviously get an audio version. The other one that I put in the chat is The Rising by Larry Silverstein. So just in case you didn't know, he owned the rights to the World Trade Centers for a couple weeks before they came down. And it's a story about how that happened, but more importantly, how we rebuilt them. Very, very interesting story on real life. You can get an audiobook, but also the negotiation and the challenges that guy put up with. Holy crap.
Hey, wait a minute, Ian, I'm getting triggered. And Gary will jump to you in a second. If you're tied in with the World Trade Center and you really want to read something bone chilling, really scary, read The Looming Tower. It's the story of 9/11 and how the miscommunication or lack of communication between the CIA and the FBI could have prevented that whole thing. How if they just would have put the two pieces of the puzzle together, they maybe would have realized it wasn't a good idea to have foreign nationals take flying lessons, but not bothering to figure out how to land. Yeah, we're talking about books. What's the last one you read that made any sense?
Of Mice and Men?
John Steinbeck. We love Steinbeck. I prefer The Great Serath, but that was a hell of a book too.
Was that high school?
I had to go back because as we all laughed about, is that I can't sit and read a book. I listen to it on like an audio tape. So I can listen to some stuff, and it's funny that I saw the announcement that we were talking about books. So I had to go into my library audio, and I'm listening to something that somebody told me, and it's called Trust. And it's by Dr. I don't know. I'm looking it up as we speak. And not Dr. Henry, not Harry Potter, Dr. Henry Cloud. Just talking about trust. And it's pretty interesting in today's day and age. So, but I am not a good reader. And I do want to give a shout out to Drew. Hey, good chatting with you. We were supposed to talk over the weekend. That's exciting news. Welcome to the team. I'm looking forward to chatting more about you. Harry, good seeing you. Everything going well?
Leave him alone.
Larry, can I say something about people who like to listen to audiobooks?
Please.
If you're an audiobook consumer or dyslexic, as I believe one person said they are, a great way to do it is listen to the book while reading the book. So read along with the book. And if you do that, you'll retain way more, even if you're a dyslexic person. The other thing is, what I've noticed when I do that, the content is not exact. Meaning they may be reading from a different manuscript, and you'll pick up different things by listening to the audiobook and reading along. So
Interesting. Well, a lot of the audiobooks for time, Tony, they're abridged. So they shorten up the content a little bit.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah. Tone, my all-time favorite McCullough book is about my all-time favorite president. He won the Pulitzer Prize for Truman. And you can get the long version, the unabridged, which is about 3 weeks worth of listening. But I actually bought that on audio and the smaller version because the abridged version is read by David McCullough. You all know David McCullough, even if you don't know him. Anytime you see a Ken Burns PBS documentary, that real deep resonant voice that sounds like Walter Cronkite, that's David McCullough.
Interesting.
Traveling with Larry has really taught me about audiobooks. I never, ever thought about listening in the car. I'm a music guy on the car. I thought I'd fall asleep, but stuff that he's played while taking long trips has been amazing. Currently, I am reading Where We Keep the Light, Josh Shapiro's service book of his service to the government. And it's just an amazing person. He's an amazing person. Be interesting to see what happens next presidential election.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Possibly putting up Alexandra.
Well, audiobooks can actually be a lot better in some cases, especially if you have someone who's a really good storyteller. If you're a reader of the Bible, which it sounds like Tony and a lot of other people are, I actually purchased an audio version, which was really interesting because it was some the people who actually the voices for the different chapters are famous people, but it's before they were big names because it's an older recording. But when you watch, when you listen to books like, for example, Extreme Ownership from Jocko Willink, he tells a lot of the military stories in it, but that's also true if you listen to other books by people like there's a famous Marine. I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's The Power of One is his book. But those books are probably actually a little bit better in an audio format if the person can tell an interesting story. But you also get anecdotes, in some cases more content than you get in the book.
And also in the quality of their voice. One of the problems you have with audiobooks is if you get a bad author, as great as the book is, you can't stand to listen to it. Sometimes you get people that make mispronunciations that are so egregious it hurts your ear if you're familiar with the story or what it is. One of the more
like this one's James Earl Jones does the Old Testament.
Oh yeah, well, how can you do any better than that? Yeah.
Darth Vader is reading.
Yeah, he's reading the Bible, man.
Nice.
Yeah. There's two different speakers. So he's doing the Old Testament, and they got a New Testament by John Sherberg. I have no idea who that is, but it's not.
Maybe you should introduce him to Brian AI, and he can handle it.
But it was interesting. I had no idea how that was going to go, but it was definitely interesting.
I'm not sure, Tony, that AI could improve on Let There Be Light. I mean, sometimes simple and clean and direct is the way to go.
Yep, Jesus wept, right? And have any of you seen the series? I think it's on Amazon Prime, David.
I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched some of it. It was good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Pick it up.
They also did an animated film of him, Tony. It was extremely well done. You're seeing a lot of films based by religious companies that the production is top notch. They're called angel films.
Yeah.
Some of those productions are just tremendous.
Yeah, really good. All right, guys, I gotta go. Have a good night. Good to see you.
Have a great one.
I owe you a call, Tony T.
Good to be seen.
Later.
And good to be seen. And Mike, good to be seen.
It's good to be seen and not viewed.
There you go, brother. I'll hear you in the morning.
So
I would have thought Rozak would have been a Think and Grow Rich fan. With that history
that's you, Mike.
I've devoured that book.
Yeah, I actually had him physically come to the Yellow Box Church in Naperville and speak to the dealer group, and Cars Commerce did it with me. Alex Vetter was there at the time. So I had them come and speak, and at that time, Dealer Inspire, every year we pick a bunch of different people. Like we had Jocko speak there, and we had one of his number 2 speak there. We had David Goggins there, and he came.
Goggins, that's the guy.
3:00 in the morning, we went running with each other. Now I'm not a fan of David's, but that's a whole different story. I have a reason for that. But I mean, he's always been really wonderful. Cars Commerce about sponsoring a lot of those events once they bought Dealer Inspire. It's too bad it stopped, because we would have a couple of days of this, and all these wonderful authors would come in and just talk to us. I'm a very visual person. I mean, when I'm in the car, I very rarely listen to the radio, but when I do, I only listen to really Zig Ziglar is the only person I really listen to. And it's only because I've known Zig Ziglar since I was about 13, or knew him. He was nice enough to do my high school graduation. He was nice enough to come and train the salespeople I had when I was at Bill Jacobs. The group was all into Tony Robbins, and Brad Wise and I talked about that the other day, how we used to compete each other at sister stores. But, for me, it was just simply being able to pick up the phone, call Zig Ziglar and say, hey, I have a group of salespeople, some veterans I'm not getting through to. I need your help. And the man literally said, I'll be there next Saturday for your meeting. And I mean, that was just an impressive man that was able to do that for me.
Boy, are you lucky.
Manager. Yeah, I was blessed. Zig kind of helped me through my career very much. Joe Verdi was a big inspiration to me, but to this day, to honor him, I always, when I'm on my way to a dealership and consult or to help somebody with their training processes, I just go back to the basics and I listen to what Zig has to tell me every day. Not that I can't go to Lethal Sales and learn some stuff, or just call Larry or call Mike or call any of you guys. Gary, just a wealth of knowledge. It was awesome having you and Mike on the podcast this morning in Wendy's room. I don't know how I would do that without your guys' support today. So I just want to say thank you. I didn't mean to take over the show here, but I just want to let you guys know that, podcasts are not my thing.
You couldn't tell, man. You did a great job.
Hey, David, I love Zig, and I quote him to every dealer. I say, Zig said, training is like bathing. I recommend it daily because it doesn't last.
Yeah, truthfully. And that's echoed in my mind. But after my stroke, I needed something to grab on to other than AI, other than trying to figure out the parts of my memory that I forgot. And it was a struggle, but I think art therapy, listening to Zig Ziglar, working on AI projects, and kind of going back to some of the core things that I've learned in my life. So a lot of the books and stuff that I've written and all the GPT training manuals that I put together, I did it so it could just help people in the car business, but selfishly I did it so that my son would actually listen to some of the training. He wasn't getting the books, and I said, well, how else could I get to him? What would he learn with? He was infatuated with ChatGPT. So I said, well, I'm going to make a GPT that he can role play. And when I did that a few years ago, I mean, it was a totally different kid. Now, he's a Porsche Pro and salesperson and backup F&I. And we just start talking about what he's projected to make this year. And he's up to, he should finish this year at about 275,000 at 24. And I mean, he's just proud of. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of him. Now I just need him to stop buying motorcycles and cars and put his money in property and stuff like that. Stop playing in crypto. Well, maybe that's not a bad thing. He does have a little bit of crypto that's worth something. But he's a good kid. I mean, we grew up. I mean, he grew up an Eagle Scout, and that's just. And he's never stopped being an Eagle Scout. Unfortunately, he hurt himself in football on both knees, and he has a cadaver tendon, or he would have went on to play some type of sports in college. But he is a little bit of a fire plug, so I don't know. He wouldn't be able to play with all the big guys.
That cadaver tendon surgery is becoming very popular. It seems like many members of the American Congress have a cadaver brain. It seems to be a non-functioning organ that somebody put in.
Are those Republicans or Democrats, Larry?
I don't want to say, and I think I made my position pretty clear. Ron's getting me to be less controversial in my old age.
Good job.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a bigger square jar.
Sometimes they're the same party to me. I'm sorry. This whole
Well, they are. It's a uniparty, absolutely.
This whole gas thing is ridiculous. Why we're paying like $5 a gallon here in Chicago is beyond me.
It's called surge pricing.
We don't have a gas shortage.
It's called because they can get away.
It's called surge pricing. You will pay more.
It's going to help us sell more electric cars and hybrids, but
it's going to be
That's
interesting.
exactly what's happening because of that.
It's going to be interesting.
The Subaru dealership we're working out this week, I asked, where is Solteris? They go, we can't keep them in stock. They're all being sold with no problem now.
Interesting.
Well, it's strange that the other day a friend of mine told me that the markup on a Land Rover Defender is about the same type of markup that you would have seen on like an entry-level Chevy product. She goes, you probably got $500 to $800 worth of markup there. She goes, and what it is they cut down the prices to absorb the tariffs in the price, and they haven't changed anything. And they're like, well, they're getting some back end money, but then they kind of got rid of their, I guess I forget, builder product or profit builder money. I forget what they call it, but now they kind of switched it to CPO, where you only get this money if it's in CPO. And I'm like, wait a second, you can't do that on your loaner cars? And they said no. And I'm like, no wonder your store went from 35 loaner cars to 5. I said, but you're Land Rover. I said, aren't you worried about not helping out those customers? They are in your shop all the time and they spend big money. So I'm like,
David, it doesn't matter if it's the factory or the salespeople. Everybody works their pay plan. Everybody shifts the cups around to make sure the money falls in the direction they want it to fall.
Well, plus when you look at Land Rover, I mean, Jaguar is. I don't even know where that's going to go. So Land Rover never sold a lot of volume, but yeah, I mean,
you know what, Ian, I always thought I was a terrific salesman. I'm nothing compared to the guy that sold Jaguar on that advertising campaign with the people with multicolored hair jumping up and down.
Yeah, that was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, look at
Ah.
Porsche right now and their price increases, 75,000 to 100,000 over what
Well,
they were
I was
2
just
years ago.
talking to a marketing company today. I guess it's both Audi and Porsche have now mandated a certain website platform for all their dealers, and it's not performing. So
No, that was years ago. They did that. They did that when I was at Motorworks.
and
It was like almost 5 years ago they did that. And you're not even allowed to put your new cars on your group site. And I know Ford is kind of like that too. So, I mean, you have to be really cautious with Porsche, but their website doesn't perform. But you know why it doesn't perform? It's the fucking idiot vendors that fuck up that. I'm sorry that we're vendors in this room. It's people like me that aren't paying attention and inspecting. You know, when you do an Instagram thing, and I just yelled at 3 Porsche dealers about this.
But David,
They
do
take
they
it
have
to
to,
the
do they
OEM
have to
site.
inspect it? Do they have to inspect it? They don't have to
They
because they have the guaranteed rate to it. No, I get it. But look at all your vendors, all your third parties. Every single manufacturer says you have to be with this third party, and most of them absolutely stink.
I mean, you send me to a website, right? And you take me to the homepage rather than a VDP to VDP. You know, VLAs are supposed to work VDP to VDP, right? But you go to Instagram and you click on it and it says shop, right? Every one I click on, it just takes me to the homepage.
Main page, yeah.
I'm like, why are you not taking me to the car I really want to buy?
Yep.
There's a couple, I mean, I analyzed all the Porsche dealerships in the Midwest and I wanted to see how their Facebook ads and Instagram ads work. So I went to the Meta Library and I looked up all the dealers. I pulled their generative SEO. I did an audit on them. I looked at their pay-per-click accounts. I looked at their VLAs, and then I went to their social. And I'm like, oh my God. But what really messes it up, there's a pop-up that happens. And when that pop-up happens, it makes it difficult because you got to jump through hoops to accept the pop-up to then just go to the homepage, not to even get to the car. And I'm like, how much money are the dealers wasting on this? Because like you said, they're forced to use these vendors, and these vendors couldn't just reach out to the OEM and saying, hey, we need to take them VDP to VDP. They don't need to go through this and have to filter it again themselves. It's like, did you guys go back in time on your ads from like 10 years ago when we started working on marketing? Because it's very cumbersome. And what happens is customers jump. You look at their bounce rate on a Porsche dealer's Instagram account ads, it's huge. And they're like, oh, well, the website
How many
doesn't
GMs
work.
or owners know how to look at their GA4?
Yeah, not many.
I would say maybe 1 out of every 100
Yeah, I mean,
GMs
it's
can
probably
actually go into
2%.
the GA4 and actually understand what they're looking for.
Less than that. But Porsche Digital, they're great and then they're bad. You know, they require extra people to go in these meetings, but a lot of times they have the wrong people in these meetings. They'll throw a general manager and a GSM in this meeting, and they'll totally admit their agency, their marketing people, and not know it. I used to have to force my way into those meetings at Motorworks and at Napleton just to see what the OEM was telling them so that I could match the OEM's presence online. But, you know, the GM and the GSM are never going to convey those things that they're working with to the actual people that do the damn work. They get busy and they forget it. So, and Chevy's no better. GM's no better in positioning their vehicles.
There's not one that's,
I don't get it.
Not one.
Yeah,
There's
there
not
are
one
things
that's
that-
not, it has to be this site that, you know, you get a section of like 5, and they're all the 5 big players, but they're not made for that dealership. You buy all these add-ons, these plugins that take away from the experience, especially if it's right here on the phone, right? Because this is 80% of where people are.
And they're cumbersome.
Cumbersome. So why isn't it like an eBay and an Amazon, or let's look at the real players, the CarMax, the Carvanas, the ones that know how to have a platform that is absolutely frictionless and can take you from beginning to end in 30 seconds on a phone.
And the only difference in that really, and we were talking about this briefly with Katie this morning, she said, hey, should I get an app for my website? And I'm like, why? Tell me why you want it. We'll talk about it offline. I said, but here's the problem. I said, some website builders like Team MXX, for example, Kelly Verdi's site and John Resurrection, those guys have a website that's actually built on an app. So it really is an app already. But most websites are outdated. We should be on a headless website, and that's what Carvana's on. That's what Toyota's on. That's what the big boys are on. That's what Amazon is on. So, I mean, and those cost of websites because of AI right now are dirt cheap. You can get an amazing website, group website, and one-time fee, $5,000. Okay, you're not paying $3,000.
Have you looked at Overfuel?
I have looked at Overfuel.
What do you think about that?
My NDA with somebody that was working on a project with them, we kind of passed.
You talk after this.
Yeah, we kind of, and I don't mean to say it in a negative way, but there was a vendor product that we were going to work with them on, and they literally didn't understand the own dynamic of some things. So on the technical side, they really didn't know what they were talking about. And I just was a listener, and I didn't get in the conversation, but I knew that the two companies were not going to work together simply because they may be a good website builder, but when we got into the basic and techniques of it, the promising of what they could deliver wasn't there.
Right, because they promise they build out your SEO, and it's.
You kind of hit the nail on the head on the very first word you mentioned there.
All right, well, we'll talk about it offline.
Yeah, we can talk about that offline. And again, they're not a bad company. Here's the bad part is 90% of the companies out there and the big boys are no better either than them. So I guess as an option and cost effectiveness, you just really have to do your due diligence, whether it's an AI or whether it's a website, whether it's any product. You know, we just need to figure out, well, what are the blind spots that it's not going to work in my tech stack? What engagement is it not going to bring me? Don't tell me I'm going to get 50 more car sales out of it.
Amy, you had said a word that I never heard before. You said a headless website. What does that mean?
So one of the headless websites that you can go onto is Scrappy. So you find a website builder that uses the Scrappy platform instead of a WordPress website, which is what like Dealer Inspires built on WordPress.
Everybody.
So they are great because they resize the different devices automatically. The difference on a headless website is you can take an asset on that website, and let's say you say, hey, I want to share this vehicle in a description. And all you do is instantly say, I want to share it to Reddit and I want to share it to these 10 sites. Or you have a blog post there. You hit the button and boom, it's there. It's immediate. As long as you have an account, it immediately shares it. So, I mean, it's speed and efficiency for things, and it's SEO value, and it's EEAT that Mike would say, is at a whole different level. But headless websites were started a long time ago. It's just back in the day when people wanted to do them, it was $50,000.
Why is everybody on WordPress?
Well, because it became easy. And the problem with some things is, WordPress is no different than what most vendors do, is you come out with a product and go, yeah, I can do it. But then with WordPress, you have to put a bunch of plugins in there to make it to work properly.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
The link breakage is, you can't get somebody to fix that break.
Right.
And I hate them.
Yeah.
But I buy
That's why we use Wix.
Nah.
There's actually a customer service you can call and get
support. As far as support, and GoDaddy, when you're buying your domains, they've got a great support
fabulous,
system.
yeah.
But the others,
and if you think about Wix, sorry about the dogs. When you think about Wix 10 years ago, though, it was a little bit cumbersome. But nowadays, it's a little bit better than it's better than 90% of the things because it does explain stuff to you, and they've gotten better. And I think all website and all vendors evolve, right? It's just, are they doing it on my dollar as a marketing director? Are they doing it on the dealer's dollar to become efficient? Am I the product or am I the customer? And I think with a lot of AI vendors right now, we are the product. We're not necessarily always the customer, and our data is really the product. So that's what's scary to me about today's economy in the United States. If we were in Europe or Canada or other countries, they are so much more stricter on data processors and where the data goes than the United States are. I mean, our laws are written so that a data processor on the back end of your contract can do a lookalike audience or do a test audience. And we're the only country that lets Twilio and SendGrid do this, okay, which is amazing. So we don't know where our data goes, and we don't really own it. And then we sign up with these AIs and these CDPs and these other companies, and we pay them for our data. and to help us with marketing it, and then they don't want to share it to our other vendors.
Not
So-
only that, David, they're sharing it with your in-market competitors.
Yeah.
And the poor guy that sits at the softball game for his daughter is getting 10 to 20 calls or emails or text messages from all the dealers that the third party sold you as the lead for.
But here's what's
And-
weird, though.
Oh my God, that's a conflict of interest.
It is.
I ever heard it.
I mean, Ian sent me some books on diabetes, right? And so he's got some stuff under control, and we're talking about it. I'm using different things too. So I'm reading the books that he sent me on audio, not really reading, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing the audio. But the audio is playing in the house after he sends it to me. And so I'm listening to it. And then the next day, I'm getting all of these diabetes ads, man,
right.
for like 3 days. I got
Right.
hammered.
Your,
I'm
your
like,
phone,
Alexa.
your computer, everybody's spying on you.
I'm on Paramount. I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, somebody went to a Mad Hive account, but how are they getting my data to know Ian's conversation of mine? It just blew my mind. And I'm like, I'm playing the audiobook in my house, and I'm like, okay, well, I got an Alexa, I got Siri listening,
That's
I have
fine.
all these tools, I have Google, I have Copilot. I'm like, I think we're just inundated with technology, and dealers right now, I think we kind of go, well, everybody's doing it. It's okay. Customers, oh, it's okay. And I'm just like, it's really not anymore, man. And we have to worry about this.
Intrusive. Yeah.
It is. And I'm going to quit rambling and land my plane there. But it's just, I'm very grateful, to be able to come to this room and learn from you guys. And I think it's a great topic about the book.
It's human nature that we can get used to anything and we can adapt to anything. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm 200 years old, but it's okay.
So you're 400 years
Well, I
old.
mean, I got used to Gary.
Both Drew and a couple of the other guys were commenting that I always answer my phone. Well, I'm just old enough to remember when the phone rang in my house when I was a kid. People would run to the phone because they were excited to see who was calling them.
You only had one phone.
Yeah, look, we've gone from where people are welcoming you. And listen, David, it's not even social. I'm in 70 dealerships all the time. People are setting up an ad. So, hey, I want a job. And they still don't answer the phone to react.
I will
There's
say that
something
I'm not
seriously
you,
wrong there.
Gary. I do not have your discipline to pick up the phone all the time as you do. And, I am not as courteous, especially if my mind.
Well, David, I'm gonna rescue you. I'm developing an app, and it's got this green button on it to practice hitting the green button for your phone.
Now, what's weird though? Abdul, I was hoping he was on the show tonight because he was giving me crap on Clubhouse, the past 3 Clubhouses that I never call him back and I never pick up the phone. I never pick up the phone like Larry. Is what he tells me.
Abdul is in China right now with Trump. Because we figure once he explains his program to Xi, he'll immediately give up and concede everything to Trump.
Right.
So there, he said he.
That was a Rhonda joke.
That was no joke.
And I looked at my phone and I'm like, Abdul, I looked at all my missed calls. You're not on there. And I texted him a couple of times today, and I texted him the image. And I'm like, you must be busy. So I can't wait to give him shit. I was hoping he was on here to say, hey, I've been texting and calling you all day.
He's been getting me on WhatsApp, and this morning he said, when do you and Lisa have time to get together? And I'm saying, who is this and who is Lisa?
Maybe he's trying to WhatsApp me. I do have a WhatsApp number, but I deleted that app. People always tell me I tried to WhatsApp them.
That's what I'm going to do.
Well, the only people that ever try to WhatsApp me is some masseuse in Vegas, some Chinese investor, some prince in Africa, some guys in Colombia.
Right. I got a guy who wants me to sell solar. And he's, telling me that, all I need to give him is my WhatsApp number and my bank account. I'm like, yeah,
What?
good luck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
WhatsApp number in your bank account?
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah, I know.
Only. He said only. And here's the bad thing about it is WhatsApp is technically, you look at a lot of the people who got in trouble on WhatsApp, it's like they must have like a server with the FBI or the FTC or something. I'm like, how are we this stupid? That we watch all this foreign traffic that comes in through WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And that's really how, it's not secure. They can say it's all secure as whatever. I'm like, it's not secure.
Yeah, it's not.
I said, you see how many people are busted for drugs and other things, and and I'm glad that the human traffickers decide to use WhatsApp too, because they do get busted too.
Make it easier to get caught, absolutely.
I'm glad, but I don't want to be associated with it. I'm sorry. I have a GM that told me, and he's a Polish guy. I like him, but he goes, I talk on WhatsApp to back home in Poland all the time. He goes, we should have WhatsApp on all of our ads. And I said, okay, who's going to answer that call?
Bad idea.
Don't do
Yeah,
it.
I'm not. He wants it though, but I actually had to reach out to Twilio, and I said, okay, your stuff's compromised, but I'll set it up through.
Hey, David, I'm gonna steer us back to the books.
To the books.
To Harry's dismay, because he's a Yankees fan, my buddy Gary Stone is wearing his Red Sox hat. Gary, the book you should read is by my second favorite author named David Halberstam, who won the Pulitzer for the best and the brightest Vietnam reporting. He loves sports more than any human being, and he wrote extensively. And he wrote a great book on the Red Sox and Yankees called The Summer of '49. It's the year DiMaggio was hurt, and they actually thought they were going to overtake the Red Sox. It is such an easy, gentle read. If you haven't read it, it's The Summer of '49 by David Halberstam. I can't recommend it too highly.
Awesome.
Did the Yankees come up on top of the Red Sox that year?
They did. The theory, let me just throw this out.
That's why I just want to read it.
Because I'm not going to read it if the Red Sox didn't win.
Listen, guys, I'm talking to a guy from Philadelphia. There's two teams that's lost more games than anybody.
And they said that with Indiana, and they went 16. Now listen, there's two theories here that are interesting. The first one is the Yankees were cheap. And the people, because they didn't make the crazy money they make today, they really wanted and needed the World Series share. While the Red Sox owners actually paid more generously, so they didn't need the money as badly. The other thing is, if you're a baseball fan, you realize that two of the greatest players that ever lived, when they got to the World Series and lost, they didn't play well. The greatest batting average in history is Ty Cobb at 367. But if you look at the one time he went to the World Series, he was terrible. And Williams is arguably, if not the greatest hitter ever, top 2 or 3. He didn't play well. This is going to blow your minds if you're a baseball fan. They played an exhibition series to stay loose because they clinched quicker than the National League, and he got hit in his elbow. So he actually played that World Series with a bad elbow. So were they more motivated by money, the Yankees? Obviously, they were very prideful and very professional. And what would have happened if he didn't? Hey, we were talking today, David, you're a Chicago guy, about how great Dale Sayers was. And if he played today, they would have fixed his knee up in 1 second. Mike, this guy played a 12-game season and scored 22 touchdowns. If you watch him, it looks like the tapes are sped up. He was that much faster than everybody else, right? David's second only to Jim Brown in that era.
I mean, he was one of the nicest guys I ever met. I mean, I went to a boxing match, and we sat on like a stage, and we were at a casino. We were actually like a riverboat in Indiana. I think it was in Gary, of all places. And I was there with like.
Whoa. We got to jump back to trivia. And Gary, Indiana, Mike, for 2 points, was the hometown of which very famous group and singer? The Jackson 5. Take a point away from him. Go ahead.
Oh, you were talking about music, man.
Yeah, but I gotta say that Gale Sayers is just a wonderful man.
You know, a great human being.
I was there with Vince Vaughn.
We quoted him
on the stage with me.
We quoted him. He wrote a book called "I Am 30." He said, "God is first, my family is second, and I am 30."
And we were there with sitting across from us was Vince Vaughn, and ironically, I thought he was a great guy, but I didn't realize that he was kind of like a germaphobe. No, I mean, kind of remind me of Lance Briggs. You go to shake their hand, and they're like, "Ooh," and I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." He had all this MMA fighters with him because he had his own team. But ironically, I mean, it was just a great group of guys that I got to meet. Dan Hampton, I believe, is there too. But the Bears players, I got to say, they're always wonderful in public with everybody. They're just, they're one, especially the 85 Bears guys. None of them are really jerks.
Yeah, another boo.
Yeah, and another boo this year.
And you got to go to your grave wondering what happens if they don't do that illegal sack and that hit on McMahon. They might repeat it because that was nobody can compete with that decade of the Steelers But that arguably, that 1 year was as good a defense as you'll ever see. They just without quarterback play the next year, they couldn't sustain it.
Was that the year of the Icky shuffle?
No, Icky Woods was a couple years later with the Bengals.
Oh,
Right.
It was always the Packers is probably their biggest rival though against the Bears. I mean, they literally would just kill McMahon anytime they could.
But that was an illegal hit. That
Yeah.
that wasn't. Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, McMahon was a very talented quarterback for 7 or 8 years. Everybody in the league, everybody in the league knew that that the Bears were going to run because they had no quarterback, but they had one of the greatest players that will ever live in Walter Payton.
Yeah.
This was a guy, Mike, 2 inches taller than me and not gigantic, who would knock linemen on their butt. He refused to run out of bounds. But without their quarterback, the whole thing came unhinged because that defense, you talk about star players. Man, those guys were good.
Oh, yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
Do we get agreement from Mike there? What the hell happened?
Worried about those Patriots.
Well,
All right,
that's
haven't
another
heard-
story.
we
You know,
haven't
that's
heard so
another
much
dynasty.
We haven't heard from Gary.
That's what I was about to
And we
say.
got about 5 minutes left.
Come on, Gary. Say something intelligent. We're waiting.
Let's see. I will say though that today David did an awesome job in the clubhouse,
Appreciate it.
and what he's doing is wonderful because he's helping the people understand what's noise and what's not noise. And so much is out there is noise. And you know, I'm focused on the F&I process. And so I'm just focused on dialing that in. And AI has such a wonderful overlay used properly is what it is. So somebody made a comment today, and I wrote it down somewhere. It was like AI makes human beings better. And so with all of that being said, Mike Larkin had to teach me how to do marketing. So AI makes us smarter. And I know my friend over your shoulder, Drew, it's funny, I'm looking at some of Drew's posts in the last few weeks, and I'm like, that guy's talking just like me, and he's making sense. So what's nice now is that we have a group of very smart people in a leadership role helping the dealer understand what's noise and what's real, true operation. And at the end of the day, all we want to do is get that customer through the system as easy and as seamless and as convenient as possible. And guess what? Today, we can do it because everybody has a cell phone.
I did a nice TikTok for you today, Garrett. It was all about the speed of a finance department and why there are slowdowns. And the one that I talked about today was all of the fraud that's going on. We're going to see $1.3 billion in fraud in 2026.
Fraud combined with salespeople incompetence.
Right.
With not having the license, the proper license information, with not having the proper serial number and miles combined.
Yeah, and if you missed the show on Monday, we had 2 heavy hitters on fraud. So if you want to learn more about that, that show is really interesting. We had actually 3 people on fraud, and Larry was
and the other 2 gentlemen. Yep.
So let's talk about that for a second before we leave. Gather technology, we're all understanding it. It's a wonderful, seamless tool to protect the dealer. They've tried to get the price as cheap as possible. It's $300 a month. It's $250 for a Ford dealership, and it's $3 to protect your dealership's interest of verifying who that individual is.
Yep.
And now, just for my Connecticut dealers, all the insurance information is at our fingertips. A click of a button after the menu transfers the information. Protect your dealership. Thank you, guys. There's a lot of wonderful tools.
Share my post.
Share post. And by the way, I got a text from David Rosick. David, how do you turn your computer off? It's the on button. Anytime you need technical information, just reach out to me, my man. You know, I'm always willing to help.
Well, I always call Mike.
The wall and the plug in the wall always works for me.
Reset the cable.
For me, it's enough behind the wheel.
Listen, we appreciate the hell out of you. I'm gonna be working tighter with all of you. We had so much fun with Drew these last couple days, and he's gonna be such an asset. He brings so much to the table, and between me, him, and Harry, man, it was literally the Three Musketeers. So
Wonderful.
we thank you. We appreciate you. We'll be talking to all of you soon.
I know there's 3 students.
Close enough, no, Nate. Everybody stay healthy. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon. And David, you can call Drew and talk offline, and you and me can reminisce about the Bears.
Thank you.
David, I gotta
Yes,
reach
sir.
out to you. We got the lab going up again, so I gotta. show
I
you
gotta
how
call
it works.
Brian AI back.
No,
He's called
never
me
mind.
twice today.
You hung up on Brian? Oh my
Put
God.
it in the chat. I wanted to see the books.
I was in a meeting.
Brian's pissed at you.
I was in a meeting and Brian called me.
The Rising by Larry Silverstein.
Yeah, that Silverstein
Yeah, by Larry
book.
Silverstein.
Holy crap! Yeah, you think you have a bad day? Whew.
I didn't get all the chat stuff. What was the other book?
I'll pull
I
it
didn't
up.
really hear from Rhonda.
It was a link for a headless CMS.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And then the
Guys,
other
stay
books,
healthy.
the other books were The Intelligent Investor, Benjamin Graham. Strappy was the one that David was talking about. Radical Candor. That
I'm
is
gonna send you an email.
Kim
You can-
Scott.
You can email me a whole list.
Yeah, send me an email, I'll send it to you.
Companions, Brave Companions. And by the way, the last book I read that I loved was How to Test Negative for Stupid by Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Tremendous writer, tremendous. No, it was just as funny as he is and very insightful. Everybody stay healthy. We'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Good night.
You guys.
Thank you for helping the industry get better today live.